Have you ever played with blocks? Or do you remember playing with blocks when you were a kid? Blocks like these. Notice that they're in order. That's how your parents told you to put them together. A, B, C. But as soon as your parents left the room, you did things like this. Or maybe you tried something like this. So your parents' way of doing things means doing it by the rules, and your way of doing things, the playful way, is a creative way of doing things. This is a course in songwriting that uses both of those ways of thinking to help you learn to write songs. I'm David Elzafon, and I write a column for American Songwriter magazine. Here's some examples of American Songwriter. They sell it at Barnes & Noble. And my column's called Measure for Measure. Now, everything on this set is totally makeshift. There's no professional photography implied or even wanted, because this course is about your musical imagination. So you'll just have to imagine that everything here is top caliber. And if you get the excerpt to my book, Compose Yourself, on which this course is based, which you can get for free at American Songwriter, I'm not selling books, then you'll read a quote from, of all people, Lee Child, the author of the Reacher books about musical imagination, which I think is one of the very best quotes on musical imagination I've ever read. Now, most of the time, if we learn music in a typical way, we learn to play an instrument, we learn about scales, we learn about chords, and when we try to be creative, we kind of expect, because we've been passive receivers of knowledge, we kind of expect the guitar or the piano to tell us where to go next, unless we have a very active musical imagination. In other words, an imagination that can move musical blocks around and put them in different places. So these musical blocks they stand for four things when it comes to writing songs. Number one is, let's see, that's a C, that's an A. Okay, number one is rhythm. And I think we all know what rhythm is, but rhythm is also the simplest element of music that is still musical. You can have chords and they're not musical unless they're presented with rhythm. You can have melody, notes played, but you can't recognize the melody unless they're put in their right place by the rhythm. So rhythm is the first thing we're going to cover in this course. And let's see, we got the next thing is going to be, let's see. Ah yes, here it is. Harmony. Harmony will be the next thing. Now that has to do with chords and the grammar of putting chords together. And the third thing we're going to deal with is melody. M for melody. Then there's a fourth block, which is all of those things put together, and that block is form. So we have four things that we're going to learn step by step: rhythm, harmony, melody, and form. How do you learn to be creative with rhythm, harmony, melody, and form? If you've ever been to a music class, sometimes you wait up to a year before you start being creative with the materials. Or if you're told to just go out and write a verse, write a chorus, you feel overwhelmed because there are too many things that you have to deal with all at once. Well, the way we're going to do this is by taking rhythm and playing dialogue games with it. There are 4 dialogue games. The first dialogue game is simple imitation. I'll play a rhythm, and then you'll copy it exactly. The rhythms will keep getting longer and longer. First just 1 measure like you heard there, and then 2 measures, and then 4 measures. Okay, the second game we're going to play is Q&A. And when we play Q&A, I'll be the questioner and you will be the answerer. And when I give you a rhythm, just like the other one, you'll come up with a variation on it. And we'll keep going back and forth like this in a dialogue until, well, here's what will happen when you play a game like Q&A. Your mind will be in the future while your hands or your guitar or your piano is in the present. And after this goes on for a little while, you're going to enter that zone where you're, that creative zone where you're not even thinking about yourself anymore. The music takes over and you're inventing things that you didn't even think you could or would expect to invent. It's really a great state of mind to be in, and it goes along with the third and fourth games that we will play. Number 3 game is As If, where you start out with a feeling that you want to communicate, and you take the same rhythm and then answer me with a feeling that has to do with a feeling behind your rhythm. You're going to improvise a rhythm. It's like Q&A, but you're going to be expressing an emotion. And I'll give you lots of suggestions. This As If game, you don't have to really feel the emotion. It's the same game actors play when they get into the mood to do a scene. They can express an emotion by recalling some time in their life when they felt something like what they're supposed to be feeling in the scene. And that puts them in the right frame of mind, and you can do the same thing with your music. And then the last game is the wordplay game, where you improvise your improvise words over the rhythms, and your words don't have to fit the rhythms perfectly, but you have to be thinking about the rhythm when you improvise the words. You can improvise words, or you can improvise just random syllables and nonsense words. The important thing is that you keep talking or keep singing while you're thinking about the rhythm. And you'll see more of this as we go along, so there's really no reason to go into it in great deal. However, I do want to bring up the next subject, which is the videos that you'll see for each excerpt that you can get from American Songwriter. This is the email address. It's info@americansongwriter.com. Email that email address and put compose yourself excerpt 1 in the subject line. They'll know what to do. They'll send you a PDF of the first lesson from the book, and that is about all I have to say right now, so I'll see you in video 2.